Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
All right, now what we got here, right? 3 veterans like El Nacho here, right? That could lose their jobs to a draft pick. Quite possibly. Now, with Nacho, right, not only lose his job, but, I mean, we got a lot of defensive linemen. Put a lot of defensive linemen in, right? And if we were to, now, and we're also, I think, as of right now, because all the rookies have not signed their contracts, we're like $9 million under. We need to clear up $9 million in cap space just to break even, right? So we need to do some things like possibly letting some veterans go to free up some cap space, like Nacho, but also Graham Gano. So there's a few guys here, right? But now, as I said, but Nacho here could just wind up losing his starting role. Right. With the draft over, some giant veteran roster spots and roles on the team could be in jeopardy. As I said, I love, Nacho. I love his attitude, and all that stuff and everything. It's just, he's been rather disappointing. You knew you were not going to get much out of the pass, pass rush from him. But you were kind of hoping that he'd be a little more dominant as far as in the run defense, and that just does not happen. But I do believe this is his final season with the Giants, regardless. So the Giants' offseason roster building phase is officially over, and all that's left is to see how the roster shapes up through the end of training camp in advance of the 2025 season. After a season limited by a ton of inexperience in the depth chart, among other reasons, the Giants front office wanted to move towards adding veteran talent to balance things out and boost the development of certain young players who held big roles last year. However, they've also established a situation where a few rookies in their latest class could challenge incumbents for key roles across the organization. The team's draft choices like Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart could be pieces that immediately impact both sides of the ball this season, which could spell an end to some players who have made their home in East Rutherford. From discounting new starters to morphing out the rest of the backups at each position, the summer ahead is shaping up to be one where the Giants have to make some hard decisions regarding which players will give them the best chance of winning more football games and ultimately saving the regime for more than just 1 year. Perhaps the answers are hidden within the skill sets of incoming rookies more than the previous resumes of the veterans welcoming them to New York. Either way, these 3 Giant players are among a few who need to be followed throughout camp to see if they remain a part of the franchise for the upcoming season. Now, of course, the first one is Nacho, Mr. Rakeem Nuñez-Roches, or Nacho. So we got throughout the 2025 season, one of the most significant weaknesses indicated on the Giants roster was a lack of a true number 2 gap stuffer to work alongside All-Pro Dexter Lawrence. His teammate Nacho was the closest attempt the team made to find that person in their ranks. But unfortunately, Nuñez-Roches didn't live up to the part effectively enough. The 10-year veteran finished first among the defensive line positions in total tackles with 53. But he was barely impactful in creating havoc in the backfield with just 2 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. Nuñez-Roches' efforts in slowing down the run weren't much mightier, as he finished 4th on the roster with an overall run grade of 50.2. And that was supposed to be a strong suit. Despite playing in most run snaps for the Giants with 302, he couldn't finish many tackles on his own. He had 38 assists and has posted a missed tackle rate above 7.3 in 3 of his last 4 seasons with under 20 stops. Without Lawrence's presence for the final quarter of the season, the Giants realized they were missing solid depth pieces to back him up. The unit ranked 24th or worse in several rushing metrics. That must change if the Giants want to be more competitive and not get stuck in the long drives. That starts with finding a better number 2 option than Nacho, who will likely compete with rookie defensive and third-round pick Darius Alexander in camp in August. Giants are very excited about the young Toledo prospect who fell into the laps at number 65 and believe that he has what it takes to jump into a starting role right away. Alexander flashes a raw blend of size and strength off the snap and uses both to quickly shed blockers and get into the running lanes to clog up space and swallow the ball carrier. He was among the top 5 defensive tackles in college in key run defense metrics, and his value should have never fallen as far down as it did to the top of the 3rd round. So we got ourselves a nice little steal there. If Nacho doesn't step up this summer and prove he can still dominate the interior like he did in the early years of his career, might spell a drop into the number 3 role, or even worse, a potential roster cut before the roster is finalized. Now, it's going to be interesting to see here, okay? Because there's another guy here who, if we were to let him go, would also save the Giants a little bit of money. Excuse me. And it would be Motor Singletary. Right? Yeah, because now you don't know, exactly what they're thinking about Gray, right? But then again, we got Turbo, right, on the coming off the practice squad too. So we'll have to wait and see. But then there's also a plethora of running backs out there too, as well. We can pick up. I'm not sure how high the Giants are exactly on Eric Gray, right? Because he showed that he really can't return kicks very well. But if the Giants were to release Motor Singletary, they would save themselves a little bit of money, right? Now, that is also something, which may not be a bad idea. Maybe next season in the draft, the Giants pick up maybe another running back, right? That would have 3 young studs, right? You don't need an older veteran in there or nothing like that. Although having an older veteran in there, sharing some experience and knowledge is never a bad thing, right? But, I mean, when you're getting young running backs in, the 4th round, 5th round, right? They got a lot of tread left on the tire. They're cheap. They're young. They're healthy, right? And once again, next year, pick up another running back in the 4th or 5th round or whatever, right? That way you can maybe get rid of Gray, have Singletary around no more. You have 3 young studs, right? So the second guy who is, has to watch his P's and Q's in camp, right, would be Mr. Devin Singletary. While it's easy to say that the Giants got a steal regarding the 2024 5th-round pick, Tyrone Tracy Jr., the same praise could be granted for his veteran rushing mate in Devin Singletary in the first season in blue. Giants are bringing in rookie Kyle Scatterboo after they poached him out on the 4th round of April's draft. Scatterboo is creating instant excitement within the Giants fan base, who want to see him earn many handoffs after an impressive final college season with the Sun Devils. Kyle was electric as a small but hard-nosed downfield runner who powered Arizona State to a spot in the college football playoff. He posted the second highest rushing line of 1,711 yards, 5.8 yards a carry, and 21 touchdowns, while netting over 4 yards after contact to barrel his way through the defenders. Now, so you got to give him a lot of credit also, too, is because, he doesn't have that breakaway speed. It's not like he gets in the open and he's going to take it all the way. A lot of times he winds up getting caught. But But a lot of times he gets caught, but that doesn't mean he's always going to get brought down either. Meanwhile, Singletary was nearly irrelevant in the Giants' rushing attack with only 437 yards and 4 touchdowns on 113 carries in 15 games. That effort wasn't what Shane and Dable bargained for when they signed the veteran they knew from their Buffalo days to replace the massive void left by Saquon's. But, I mean, it's, they were a little bummed out or whatever about his production, but once again, do we have the greatest offensive line in the world? No. If Motor Singletary was behind Saquon was behind the Eagles' offensive line, his production would have been better. Take Saquon last year and put him behind the Giants' offensive line, and would he have gotten 2,000 yards rushing? Absolutely not. Right? So it's likely that Scatterboo and Singletary will battle in training camp to earn the right to work alongside Tracy, who is looking for another breakout campaign after a 1,000-plus scrimmage yard debut that finished in the top 3 among rookies last season. Suppose Scatterboo impresses the coaching staff during that period. In that case, he is bound to form one half of the Thunder and Lightning. Yes. Now, let's not forget, okay, the one thing that we had when we had Ron Dane and Tiki Barber, okay? The one thing I hated about that was when we had Tiki Barber on the field, Tiki Barber's in the backfield, and it's okay, Tiki's out there. Cool. Are we going to run or are we going to pass? I guess we'll wait and see. We'll wait for them to snap the ball, and we'll see if they're going to run a pass. Ron Dane runs on the field. Oh, yep, here comes Ron Dane. Guess they're going to run the ball. You know what I mean? But with Tyrone Tracy Jr. and right? It's like having, I'm not having 2 Tikis out there, but you got 2 guys out there that can run the ball and catch the ball. There's nothing worse than bringing a guy off the sideline. Oh, okay, here comes Ron Dane. Well, it's a run play. Or if it's not a run play, don't even worry about Dane. He was never very effective out of the backfield catching passes and stuff. Not like Tiki. You know what I mean? But I said with Tracy and right, you got whoever's in the backfield there. It's like, I don't know. Is it going to be a run? Is it going to be a pass? So, and we saw, Scatterboo. I mean, man, in that playoff game against the Texas. I mean, he ran, he passed, he threw for a touchdown pass. He caught. I can't remember. It was like a 50-yarder down the sideline. The dude from Texas basically ripped his head off, grabbed his face mask, and almost pulled his head off just to tackle him. So I mean, he can catch passes, he can throw passes, and he can run the football. Same thing as we've seen with Tracy. Tracy can run the ball, and he can, and obviously, since he was a former wide receiver, he can catch the ball too. So that that's huge. That's huge. It's not like Cam Scatterboo's in the game. Okay, it's going to be a run play. Nope. But what you do want these guys obviously to do too is be able to pick up the blitz. That's huge. You don't want them being a liability in the backfield. So. Let's see. Well, Scatterboo does the heavy work in the trenches, and Tracy takes control on the outside zone runs and passing plays using his better speed and shiftiness in the open space. Even Scatterboo is confident he can contribute in any area asked of him, and that will motivate him to win the position battle with anyone who stands in his way, Singletary included. Singletary must match the energy and dedication he brings to training camp if he wants to remain in the running back mix. The Giants choose Scatterboo to be, one of the top 2 guys. It's possible Singletary could be kept around for depth purposes and certain short yardage situations where his skill set holds better value. The Giants don't seem sold on Eric Gray, who has struggled in his limited reps, and Dante Turbo Miller is still incredibly raw for an undrafted player, but he's fast. One thing he can't preach, speed. We're just going to practice speed, so we'll just you'll get fit now. Either, if you're like Turbo, right? That's just God gifted, right? So The Giants are deploying a committee of backs on the ground, but the ones that will take them out of the league's basement will get a bulk of the snaps. Singletary posted over 775 yards in each of his first 5 pro seasons. Needs to see if he can up the ante from a lackluster debut in New York. Then, of course, the last one, right, of course, is Evan Neal. Right. The story of the Giants tackle turned guard Evan Neal has been rehashed plenty throughout the offseason. Still, he is arguably the number one incumbent player whose future is on the ropes as the team prepares for the 2025 season. Well, the thing is that, can't really say they're going to let him go. I would be shocked because he's got guaranteed money. That's just like taking money and just flushing it down the toilet. And to let him go, without seeing if he can play guard would be just straight up crazy, stone cold crazy. I'll tell you. So, and now, so with our draft pick, right, possibly stepping in and taking some snaps away from Neal or maybe replacing Neal, whatever, right? That's a possibility. But Neal will be on the team for this year. There's no doubt about that. But Neal, the Giants' number 7 pick back in 2022, is facing crossroads if he wants to convince the franchise to retain him beyond the 2025 season after declining his 5th-year option. He must embrace a shift to the guard position and learn it well enough to land a backup role on the offensive line. Neal's benefits in his history of playing guard during college at Alabama, but it's not always as easy transition once you get to the professional level. Neal finally found his niche in the run blocking game late in the season, scoring a career-high 80.6 in the run blocking. And I believe it was zone run blocking. He had a 90. He graded out at a 90. But he still allowed 98 total pressures and had been penalized 18 times in 3 seasons. If Neal isn't as welcoming of the change in his position or doesn't show promise as some of the Giants have another rookie in Marcus and Bo waiting in the wings to earn his opportunity. And Bo, a versatile lineman at Purdue, can play both guard and tackle and was pretty proficient at both despite his lack of sheer size and strength. As the saying goes, hard work and, in Bo's case, confidence beat talent. And the Giants found a great value in their 5th-round pick to let him compete with the veterans in camp. He eventually wants to contribute to any position along the front lines, and that characteristic will bode well for him if he can master it. Either way, Neal has been unimpressive for a former first-round prospect the Giants thought would become one of the league's up-and-coming protectors. After a 49.6 graded pass blocking year, the 96.7 blocking efficiency, and under 500 snaps, Neal is staring into the barrel of his tenure of the Giants' offensive line and needs to take whatever opportunity he has to salvage it. Giants should hope that if he does, and they know he could use all the reinforcements for one of the most injury-prone position groups in recent seasons. Now, the one thing is, of course, is that if the Giants were to let him go after this season, that does not, by any stretch of the imagination, obviously his tenure in the NFL is over. Absolutely not. As we've seen time and time again, Giants, either whatever, letting offensive linemen go, not re-signing them or whatever, go to other teams and do very, very well. So I can almost guarantee that if Neal, was let go after this season, right, the Giants don't, he's going to want, he's going to have a contract, right? Or the Giants going to, does he do enough this season to warrant a contract from the Giants? But I said, if the Giants, don't re-sign him, the pick number 7, right, in an NFL draft is going to warrant some attention. And there's a lot of good offensive line coaches, a lot of good offensive linemen, blah, 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 all that stuff that will welcome him with open arms. And I'm sure he'll find his niche with another team. And they'll probably do pretty good, too. Right? So just, once again, Giants, time and time again, have let offensive linemen like Matt Parrott. He signed on with the Broncos last season, and he played well enough. I mean, I wasn't saying he was a Hall of Famer or nothing like that, but he played well enough with the Broncos last season. Okay, that they signed him to I believe it was an additional 2-year contract. Giants didn't want him, didn't keep him around. I couldn't get the best out of him while he went someplace else, and ta-da! Right, another team got the best out of him. So if the Giants can't find something for Neal or can't get the best out of him, there will be another team out there that'll get better production out of him than the Giants do. I can straight up almost guarantee it.